Multiple winter systems are converging on the United States this week. Arctic air pushing south, heavy snowfall spreading across wide areas, temperatures dropping to dangerous levels. This is not a single event. This is a pattern shift that will persist through the next 7 to 10 days. I've examined the latest model data from the National Weather Service, the GFS, the European model, and the ensemble forecast. What we're seeing is consistent across multiple runs. A deep trough in the jet stream, high pressure building along the west coast, cold air spilling out of Canada in waves. The setup is clear. Right now, conditions across the country show remarkable contrast. Across the Gulf Coast from Texas through Louisiana and into Mississippi, temperatures have been running 10 to 15 degrees above normal. Warm, humid air has been sitting over the region. Mississippi dealt with severe weather and tornado warnings this morning. South Carolina has seen persistent rain and near-record warmth this week. That changes dramatically starting Sunday. Compare that to the high plains. Eastern Colorado saw temperatures drop to 17 degrees this morning. Wind chills down to 5 degrees. That Arctic air mass is what we were going to be tracking as it pushes south and east. Missouri has been experiencing quiet conditions. Temperatures around 40 degrees. Calm weather. Almost boring for those following winter patterns. That extended mild spell ends next week when the pattern flips. Northeast Florida has enjoyed perfect weather for the past 10 days. Clear skies, comfortable temperatures. By Friday, that feels like a distant memory. South central Wisconsin was seeing rain this morning. As I am recording this, some areas are already reporting the transition to snow. That is how quickly this system is moving through. Let me walk you through the jet stream pattern because this explains everything that's about to happen. Currently, we have a dip in the jet stream centered across the Midwest and Northeast. This is transporting colder air across the Great Lakes right now, keeping things cooler for the next couple of days. At the same time, high pressure is building along the West Coast. This combination sets up a very specific weather pattern for this week. By Tuesday and Wednesday, that dip in the jet stream intensifies significantly across the Great Plains all the way through the Gulf Coast. By late Wednesday, Arctic air spills out of Canada all the way back down into areas like Texas, the central Gulf Coast, and even down into Florida. We're talking about a substantial southward push of cold air. The critical period is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. A large dip in the jet stream becomes centered over the mid-Mississippi Valley. A low-pressure system attempts to form. If it forms fast enough, we could see an elongated area of light to moderate snow stretching from the mid-Mississippi River Valley all the way through the Northeast. That could lead to accumulation as far south as Georgia, possibly Mississippi and Alabama. What will probably happen is this storm remains very broad on Thursday. It will likely produce very light snow as far south as Alabama or Georgia, but nothing widespread. By Thursday and Friday, this system moves up and down the East Coast. Snow falls basically anywhere from Tennessee back into the Northeast. The jet stream continues to dip sharply across the Rockies and into the southern plains as we head into next weekend. This allows another intense shot of cold air to move across the Great Plains, Midwest, and back down toward the Gulf Coast. If you don't feel the cold air by Thursday and Friday, you definitely feel it around Sunday and Monday of next week. Looking at the 6 to 10-day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, we see a big high ridge of heat and a very deep trough of colder air. Notice how much more it has gone below average for the southeast. This brings the chance once again for some southern snow. It's not going to reach all the way to the Gulf, but there is a chance for flakes maybe an inch or two toward the south. Then it goes up on that high ridge toward the northeast. My forecast is showing a warmer scenario there. It's not going to be a blockbuster for the I-95 corridor, but this is bringing significant snow to many people. Then freezing temperatures, very cold wind chills coming right behind it. The new outlook from the Climate Prediction Center shows chances for snowfall from the 19th through the 21st. It has shifted slightly further east, still showing that warmer scenario for the immediate coast, but extending into New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania into New York. Light snowfall for those areas, if any, falls. The heaviest will be for the interior northeast Pennsylvania, western New York, upstate New York, and New England. Over the next 7 days, we see 2 distinct shots of Arctic air. Currently, we have above average temperatures across most of the northern tier of the country, a bit of below average temperatures from Texas through the East Coast. That changes Tuesday. Tuesday into early Wednesday will be the warmest time frame of our next 7 days because Arctic air builds on the backside of a low-pressure system Wednesday. That system begins forming across the Midwest but intensifies late Wednesday and Thursday, becoming very intense as it moves into the southeast on Thursday. That triggers very cold air. When that happens, when moisture also comes out of the Gulf at the same time, that leads to rare snow chances back down into parts of the Tennessee Valley. By Friday and Saturday, we were not just dealing with that one Arctic shot. Another one arrives Saturday and Sunday that will be even more intense, especially for the Great Plains, Midwest, or Ohio Valley. Saturday into Sunday brings a very intense shot of cold air. That could bring more snow chances to areas in the Ohio Valley and along the East Coast. Let me be specific about what these temperatures will feel like. Thursday morning, wind chills drop to 20 to 30 degrees right along the Gulf Coast. Many areas in the Ohio Valley feel like single digits on Thursday. By the time we reach the weekend, that second shot of Arctic air comes through. That 1S more widespread. By Sunday morning, most areas in the Ohio Valley, Midwest, and back into the Northeast feel like sub-zero temperatures. Even back down toward Florida, many areas get close to freezing temperatures. We're not just talking about wind chill temperatures, actual temperatures. Many areas actually near freezing, including areas as far south as Orlando, Florida. From the National Weather Service blend of models, looking at snowfall accumulation over the next 7 days, generally speaking, most areas will see at least some snow out of these events. We are going to have multiple different winter systems over the next 7 days. Upwards of 3 to 4 will impact the Midwest and back into the Northeast. Some areas end up seeing substantial snowfall, especially in the Appalachian Mountains, western Michigan, and northern Indiana. Those are two different areas that could see significant lake effect snowfall by the middle and end of the week. Across the board, widespread 2 to 7 inches of snow will be on the table from Tennessee all the way back up into the Northeast. Let me break down the timeline day by day because this is where the details matter. Today is the quietest day of the week. The only area dealing with anything right now is upstate New York and northern New England where light snow is falling. An Alberta clipper arrives late tonight into early tomorrow across the upper Midwest. That brings a quick shot of snow across areas like Michigan and Wisconsin. Nothing surprising for this time of year. Tuesday, we have that clipper moving through, light snow for the Great Lakes and interior Northeast into New England. From Minnesota and Wisconsin, you can see anywhere from 3 to 5 inches. Northern areas will see major snow, anywhere from 7 inches toward 9 or 10 inches, potentially a foot or two for upper Michigan going into Canada. Northern Michigan through Indiana and Ohio brings snow as well. Higher elevations of the Appalachians and the interior Northeast and New England not showing for the coast. By late Tuesday, early Wednesday, that storm system intensifies. This is the storm that tries to bring the possibility of snow much further south because we have a strong cold front rolling all the way down to the south into the Tennessee Valley. Wednesday morning, rain passes across areas like Kentucky, Arkansas, and Ohio. You might be wondering how we see snow out of this system further south. By late Wednesday, early Thursday, if we get enough moisture coming out of the Gulf, a storm tries to organize back over in the mid-Atlantic near Maryland and perhaps even into New England. That should at least bring light to moderate snowfall across parts of the Ohio Valley and back into the Northeast. We could see snow down in the Appalachian Mountains as far south as near Atlanta, Georgia. On top of that, a big lake effect snow event could unfold in northwestern Indiana on Wednesday. Northerly winds mean a long fetch across the lake, a lot of moisture building up. That should allow for intense lake effect snow bands just to the west of Fort Wayne near Michigan City. Thursday, snow continues across the Northeast. There is a possibility that if we get enough moisture, we could have a localized area of snow flurries, maybe light snow anywhere from eastern Arkansas back into northern Georgia, but accumulating snowfall not very likely with this setup. The GFS has finally come to its senses. There are chances for snow, but we have a warmer scenario. If you see some along the I-95 corridor, it will only be about 2 or maybe 3 inches tops. I don't think it reaches that high. Thursday brings the reinforcement of cold air coming right behind that all the way through the weekend into next week. You're going to see a strong nor'easter developing. Pay attention to the forecast because it is showing correctly. The ensembles confirm this. Looking at the European, it has 50 ensemble members. You can see 1, 2, maybe even 3 of them showing snow for the south. This is starting to show a little bit more possibility, but it is showing maybe for the Tennessee, Kentucky Valley, you could see some snowfall. It is not a high chance. For the coast of the I-95 corridor, still showing that warmer scenario. You have that chance going across New Jersey and Pennsylvania. If that does hit, it would only be a couple of inches. The GFS ensembles, which only has 30 members, is showing that chance for southern snow, but it's only showing in 1, maybe 2 of them now, less of a chance. But the Euro's starting to pick up on a small possibility of that. I don't think it will be possible. I think it's about timing and not enough moisture. Thursday morning temperatures tell the story. Looking at the European model compared to the GFS, you can see the warm scenario going right along the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast where there's no way you would get any snow. Maybe an inch would fall before the rainfall warms things back up. You can see all the freezing temperatures coming down. The Euro goes a little bit deeper of a punch down Mississippi and Alabama. But once again, look at this warm scenario. This isn't a sudden change. It always showed it would be too warm for the coast to get this snowstorm. Our highs for Thursday, even our high temperatures remain frozen for the Midwest going across Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, portions of the mid-Mississippi Valley, out through the Appalachians of the Northeast, through the interior, and for New England. But even your high temperatures, even if the storm slows down, it's just going to be too warm for coastal areas to get that snowfall. This is why eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky could actually see a little bit of snow, but for the Northeast coast, it's just not going to happen. It is bringing the wind chills, though. The wind chills feel frozen, but you will not get the snow. Remember, wind chills do not make snowfall. Late Thursday, early Friday, snow continues across the Northeast. More snow comes out of Canada on Friday. That should bring light snowfall across the Midwest and Ohio Valley on Friday and Saturday. Late Friday, early Saturday, the GFS model shows light snow showers as far south as Tennessee, perhaps northern Mississippi and Alabama. With small-scale snow events like this, they tend to be hard to predict, especially around 4 or 5 days out, but it's something we'll keep a close eye on. Friday, after the precipitation moves over, cold air comes through, freezing temperatures reinforce with the snow. Whatever snow you have will stay while that next blast starts moving through Friday across the west, the upper Midwest, and coming deeper. Wind chills for Friday, look at this, going all the way towards central Florida, going to feel like frozen temperatures even in your 20s, while a lot of sub-zero wind chills are still moving through. Saturday, punching down again with freezing temperatures and very cold wind chills as well. Remember, this continues into Sunday and Monday and Tuesday. Early Saturday, snow starts to grow across the Ohio Valley and back into the East Coast. We should get a decent shot of snow as we go into Saturday and Sunday for many areas in the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. Beyond that, things get more uncertain. The GFS model starts to show more significant winter storm events during the last week of January, but that is just a long-term trend. The European model shows a very similar setup for the next few days. Thursday into Friday showing snow mainly in the Northeast. It shows a possibility of lingering snow showers Friday and Saturday as far south as Tennessee, but it does not look like anything significant. One interesting thing the European model shows as we go into Sunday, once we get that second Arctic blast, it does show enough moisture coming out of the Gulf, which would trigger some snow down in the southeast. But this is a huge question mark. We do not know if this is going to happen. That is 6 days from now. It is very difficult to predict any snow event 6 days out, especially something down in the southeast. We cannot predict that long out, but we'll keep you posted if any changes happen and if this continues to remain a trend. Looking at the probability of at least seeing 1 inch of snowfall between now and January 20th over the next 7 days, odds are very high if you are anywhere in the Midwest, Ohio Valley, back into the Northeast. A bit more questionable if you are in the Mid-Atlantic. Odds are still kind of in the air. We don't really know what is going to happen there. It depends on what happens Thursday. Right now, it looks like a large, broad area of low pressure, which would lower the snow chances for many of these areas, but snow is still possible, just not as significant accumulation. Back down in the southeast, areas like Georgia, Alabama, currently looking at about a 10 to 20% chance over the next 7 days. In all reality, this is a very low-end possibility of actually seeing snow in these areas. But at least it is a chance. For those areas waiting for winter, Maryland, many of you have been waiting for snow. You've gone 2 years without a major snowstorm in some areas. This pattern has potential, but I'm not going to promise anything until we see how these systems develop. The new information on the Arctic oscillation shows the cold blast coming through. Not only the cold blast for this weekend, but the one coming through next week is going to be deeper and stronger. This is the one that's still going potentially all the way toward the Gulf, and it could go deeper. Stay updated. This could be a very strong cold blast getting locked in for the eastern side of the United States. The Climate Prediction Center temperature outlook shows a slight risk all the way across the blue, across Ohio Valley in the northeast. Look how it goes all the way toward the south from Louisiana, all the way towards central Florida from the 19th through the 20th. Chance for a big cold blast to come through. Still showing it's going to bring freezing temperatures and very cold wind chills. Now let me address something I've seen. There's been a lot of hype out there, really trying to ride people's emotions about this storm. The data is clear. For the I-95 corridor and immediate coastal areas, this is a warmer scenario. It always showed it would be too warm for significant snowfall, but inland areas, interior sections, the higher elevations, you are going to see significant snow. This is not sensationalism. This is what the models consistently show. What does this mean practically? If you are in the Midwest, Great Lakes region, interior North